Hi, so glad you're here. This channel is all about pulling back the curtain to understand how economic forces are changing political power, which is changing what it means to be an American. And it's really meant to empower people to be part of the change that you want to see. I think we can all agree that we can do better than what we're doing right now. One of the things when I was reflecting and trying to make this channel is really thinking through all the life stories that I have that actually have a moral that can lead to a political insight that's really helpful. And if that's something that you want me to do more of at any point in this video, throw a comment below, just say stories, and we'll do a sort of Friday story time. But this story that I want to tell you is really from my time in the Army. See, I started out as an enlisted soldier, went to Operation Iraqi Freedom, took my SATs in Kuwait, and then went to West Point. West Point, the United States Military Academy, really trains young officers to graduate and to go lead soldiers. And coming out of West Point, what most young officers want to do more than anything else is go lead soldiers. That's what you spend 4 years preparing them for, plus another 6 months at least in job training before you even get out to what we call the real Army. So after my enlisted time, after I successfully graduate from West Point, I get out to the real Army. And my company of about 250 people, soldiers, were slated to go deploy to Afghanistan. Our mission was to do route clearance. That's driving around and trying to find all the improvised explosive devices that were buried in roads. We had more lieutenants than we actually needed at that point in time, and so I got to go as a sort of extra young officer. My job was to oversee maintenance. My job was to do company intelligence support work, and I got to spend a few months learning what was going on in Southwest Afghanistan before I got to take over my platoon. But that moment came. That moment came after 3 months of that platoon having a really hard time of it. Every single mission where they went out, and they were averaging at that point about 14 days long for every mission, driving at 4 kilometers per hour. It's very tedious, dangerous work. Every time they went out, they found an improvised explosive device the wrong way. They were having detonations under their trucks. For the most part, the trucks kept the soldiers safe. They're very, very large upper trucks. They have particular shapes. There's a lot of things that go into keeping soldiers safe, but it's certainly no fun. Being around any explosion will mess you up if you're too close or just around too many of them. And they had a leadership shakeup. Their senior non-commissioned officer and their lieutenant both moved on at the exact same time. I took over, led the first mission, and what I found was I had this really amazing group of squad leaders and team leaders. But they also started to not just show their technical competence, which they had a lot of, they also show this sort of mindset that there was nothing we can do. This was just a hard job, and this is just the nature of it. That every time we go out, we're going to find an IED the wrong way, and we just hope the equipment will keep working to keep people safe. Well, my new platoon sergeant flew out from Hawaii, which is where we were based out of, into Afghanistan. I met him as I was coming back from my very first mission with the team. Your first mission is hard to put into words. You're responsible for 36 soldiers and the hundreds or thousands of people who are following you to keep them safe. You're responsible for everything that happens and doesn't happen. It's an intense responsibility. So I get back from that first mission, on one hand, excited that I have such amazing non-commissioned officers. On the other hand, I was really worried that this mindset has seeped in, the saying, there's really nothing we can do about it. This is just the way it is. And when I first met my platoon sergeant, I told him, we're going to have to figure this out. And to his credit, he had a whole slew of ideas of what we could do about it. But you have to sit back as a young officer and wonder, are these soldiers going to follow this? Basically, our missions were getting longer. Instead of 10 days, they started becoming 14, 20, 30 days. And once you get back from a mission where you're sleeping minimum time, to turn around and say, hey, I'm glad we got back at midnight. We have 2 days off from missions, but we're going to use the next 2 days to train, is a harder ask than it may seem years later removed in air-conditioned rooms. Well, I decided this wasn't going to be something that I wanted to mandate. And there's a specific reason. So the next morning, I went in to all the non-commissioned officers and basically said, hey, you guys are freaking awesome. No doubt about it. But it seems to me that we have a choice. And by the way, before I get into this, I just want to say conventional wisdom in the Army is, as a young officer, don't change anything for the first 90 days. Ask questions, figure out what's really going on, and figure out what you want to change after that. But when you're in combat, when you're in theater, it's hard to wait 90 days to take charge, to really take charge. And so this is going to be my approach to it. So I went into that room saying, hey, you guys are awesome. But have you noticed that we're finding just as many IEDs the wrong way as we are the right way, i.e. just as many IEDs are detonating as they are finding them before they detonate? Of course, he said yes. And I said, do you want to put in the work to have that not be the case anymore? Or do we want to go out, do our missions as they're assigned, and we'll keep throwing the dice? I'm with you either way. But in my mind, I think we can figure this out. But it's going to mean a whole lot more work. Basically, no downtime for anyone. And if you're game for that, I am game for that. We will figure this crap out. If that's not what you want to do, and you want to keep doing what the current missions say and the current standard operating procedure is and just go for it and see how we manage, I'm game for that too. If we do that, I will be in the first truck. Let me know what you want to do. And then I stepped out. It was that simple. About 10 minutes go by, they come out and get me, said, sir, we're all in. What do we need to do to figure this out? And we started a training program that went from a 50% find to detonation ratio in IED to well over 90% find rate. We got all of the bad, hard missions because our higher headquarters realized we can actually do the hard missions and bring everyone back safely. We got to go out and go into parts of Afghanistan that Americans and Western forces haven't been into in years because there was so much confidence in what my platoon could do. And it wasn't because of me, but it was because we basically made a decision. We made a decision that we didn't want to keep doing it that way. In other words, we were sick and tired of being sick and tired, and that led to us changing and putting in the hard work that change was going to mean. Now, the Army itself is not a political organization. I would never claim that it endorses me or that we should put the Army in any particular political camp. But the lessons from the Army are incredibly helpful to understand how the world works. And in this case, I think the example and the moral of the story, I hope by now it's clear. If you are just sick and tired of being sick and tired of our politics, of our political system, of an economic system that is inherently unfair, then we have to get groups of people together to say we've had it. We're willing to put in the work to make a difference, to make it be different. We don't have to turn to violence. That is not the answer. What is the answer is deciding enough is enough. We're going to do something different. So that's my ask of you. Have you had enough yet? Do you want to do something different? If so, write enough is enough in the comments. More importantly, if you have ideas or blind spots that you know you have and just want to dive deeper into, let me know down in the comments. I'm looking for direction as we grow this channel of what areas to cover. I'm so glad you're part of this community. I hope you really do see that enough is enough and that there's hope because we can make a difference. That's what this channel is all about. Thanks. If you haven't yet, please click like on this video, drop a comment below, and click that subscribe button. It'll help the YouTube algorithm make sure that these videos are getting into your feed. Thank you.